bvtedit.com, you can see extensive examples and explanations and whatever you might want to see about the editing of, especially Bhagavad Gita and also other books. But that's a BBT website. And if you see anything that looks wrong, there's a place to write, errors.english.books@hamho.net. If you see a diacritic mark missing, or you see a spelling error, or a grammatical error, or a philosophical error, or anything that looks wrong, that's where you write, and it goes to Jayadvaita Prabhu, our chief editor at the BBT, and he gives it due consideration. Okay. And now we're open for questions, whatever questions you might have. Oh, there's one more I didn't tell you about. This is really cool. This is a favorite one. There are many descriptions of sacrifices. This is Bhagavad Gita as it is, first edition, chapter 12, text 11. There are many descriptions of sacrifices and special functions of the pumundi, or special work in which the result of one's previous actions may be applied. Now, you devotees have been studying the books now for probably several years in many cases. Could someone please tell me what pumundi means? No one knows. Well, there are some devotees, there are people here from India, Hindi speaking and so on. Have you ever heard of pumundi? Are you familiar with that word? You're not familiar with pumundi? But you're a fluent Hindi speaker, yeah?
Yes.
But you've never heard this word, pumundi. I looked at it and I said, well, this doesn't make any sense. Pumundi. What is this word? It can't be right. So I made it punya, pious activity, because that makes at least sense. Special functions of punya, or special work, which the results of one's creed. That makes at least some sort of sense. Pumundi, we couldn't keep pumundi. Couldn't figure it out. But then Brahma Muhurta Prabhu at the North European BBT, he was also not satisfied, and he took a little further. And he asked a Sanskrit-knowing devotee to look into Baladeva Vibhushan's commentary. And he found that the relevant word in Sanskrit was Purnamashi. That means that what Srila Prabhupada must have said was full moon day. So the pumundi. Okay, are there any questions? No questions? Yes.
Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much for addressing this important issue. Well, Maharaj, recently I've been discussing this with quite a few devotees, also with devotees who unfortunately do not think that it should be done. So, of course, before I ask this question, let me tell you that I do believe that this should be done and understand the importance of the editings. But there was this one doubt that I had when I was talking to one devotee, and it's with verse 240. I'll just get to the verse, Maharaj.
Neha Vikramanashosti.
Yes, Maharaj. This is in reference to one of the paraphrases where Narada is instructing to Vyasa in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Tyatva Swadharma, and it's to the So it's with the purport. It says that if someone gives up his occupational duties and works in Krishna consciousness and then falls down on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part? Now, in the earlier edition, the 1972 Macmillan edition, the word occupational duties it's not occupational duties, it's sense gratificatory pursuits. Yeah. So I thought that as devotees, we can make the connection and we might understand that occupational duties is not done in Krishna consciousness means sense gratification. So, but we, as devotees again, we might or might not make that connection.
So this is the real
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita,
Well-
the first edition. If someone gives up self-gratificatory pursuits,
Sense.
and Jayadvaita has changed it to if someone gives up his occupational duties, because Jayadvaita has some sort of agenda, he's changing the philosophy.
I don't understand.
Well, no, let's get the
Yeah.
objection out there. He's changing the philosophy, or he doesn't understand the philosophy, or he's got some other idea, and instead of following Srila Prabhupada the way a disciple's supposed to do, he's putting his own ideas. Instead of writing his own book with his own ideas, he's putting his own ideas into his spiritual master's book. Right?
Well, I try to make sense of this, and I could make a connection.
Okay, I'm going to show you another resource which is really useful. And this is available to all of you on the web. Again, it's at bbtedit.com. And let me find this for you. And it's great for answering precisely this kind of question. For quite a number of months now, we've been, well, I'll go back and give you some history. When I edited the book for the second edition, what I did was I edited right on my own copy. I had a copy of the 1972 Bhagavad Gita, which is all that we had, and I took my red pen and scribbled on it and indicated whatever changes were to be made. And let's just find a few of those so you see what I'm talking about. That's a verse that was left out, so I put it in. Some more first references that were left out. Get to the very end. And those verses that were put back in. I just showed it here because there were too many things to show up here, so we just, at that place, I just made a new page. I didn't do it directly on the book. But the previous pages, it's all done on the book. So I've begun posting these. That's the first chapter. And let's go and get the second chapter. Sorry, that's chapter 1. That was the introduction. This is chapter 1. Go back, and chapter 2. And I posted these all with a little introduction that tells something about the manuscripts themselves for each chapter. And you're in 240. And I put little notes throughout, sticky notes, that explain why different changes were made. Now let's go to 240. 239, we're getting warmer. This shows the editing of the purports, by the way. The translations were done separately. Okay, 240. And there's that verse. And you can see, let's make it bigger, that indeed Jayadvaita Swami has scratched out what was originally there and changed sense gratificatory pursuits to occupational duties. Now let's look at the paperclip. Oh, I'm not going to see it with this one. This is one secret of looking at this is that you have to look at it with Adobe Acrobat Reader, not with other readers. Because Adobe Acrobat Reader is made by the wonderful Adobe Corporation, which shows you, lets you put paper clips and attach things. So let's look at it with Adobe Reader. Edited Either project. Posted. Chapter 2. Come up, there it is. And we scroll down again. And see where we are. 44, we back up a little bit. And there's the offending verse. And now we take the paperclip. Or we look at the little yellow note. And it says the words, well, I'll show it to you. There's the paperclip. The paperclip shows you Srila Prabhupada's original manuscript, which reads, if somebody gives up his occupational duties and works in terms of Krishna consciousness, and then again falls down on account of not being complete, and so on and so on. The word is swadharmam. Swadharmam doesn't have anything to do with sense gratificatory pursuits. It means your own dharma, your occupational duties. And there it is in Prabhupada's own manuscript. So what we were doing is restoring what Prabhupada had. These criticisms tend to follow a consistent, stupid pattern. Hate to use that word. I'm not talking about a person, I'm talking about the argument. I'm sure the persons are all great devotees, but the arguments are stupid. And what the way it's done is this way. Here's the first edition. Here's the second edition. Here's the difference. Now, since the first edition and the second edition are different, the second edition must represent a deviation. Obviously. Because we know that the first edition was approved, that it's correct, that it's perfect, because Prabhupada glanced at it and read from it and so on and so on. And here they've changed it, so it must be due to their own agendas or their own arrogance or their own speculations or their own whatever. They've deviated from the approved text. That's the form that the argument typically takes, isn't it? Again and again and again and again. And the critics never take into account that behind all this, there might just be something other than the original book, perfect and complete, glanced at by Prabhupada and therefore 100% approved. But behind it is Prabhupada's original typed manuscript. And it doesn't seem conceivable to them that anybody along the line might have made a mistake. Sit them down and ask them, here's text 1, such 7, 18. Could you please show me the Yogamaya curtain in this verse? Prabhupada says she's talking about the Yogamaya curtain. Show it to me. Well, it's 1, 8, 19, isn't it? Well, should that have been left as it was? Well, not only that, but she's offering this prayer, and it sure looks like mantra 15 of Ishopanishad, and it doesn't look anything like verse 19 of that chapter of Bhagavatam. Well, but Prabhupada approved it.